Welcome humans, how's it going? Omega here with a little chit chat, more of a rant. I'm gonna be honest with you, so if you don't want to see this or hear this, by all means, yes, we're talking about How to Train Your Dragon once again. We got some new developing things, and maybe I just had the rose tinted glasses on, and I'm willing to accept that because now I'm actually going to be a bit critical on what John has been saying. So if you haven't seen or heard about it, How to Train Your Dragon is getting its quote-unquote live-action remake, which is funny because, 80% is still going to be animated, the dragons, but whatever. The cast is pretty solid, everybody looks great, and then we come to where everybody raised their eyebrow. Astrid, she's no longer the blonde boss girl that we've come to know and love. She is of color. And everybody was up in arms for a little bit going, wait a minute, that's not Astrid. You're not being correct to the Vikings. You're not being correct to European lore and history because this goes way deeper. You can't lie about this. And it's still giving that feeling of, why are you doing this blackwashing people? Why are you doing this when in previous films and in Kratos, for example, and other games, you name it, there are characters who are white who are being changed. Asian to black to Mexican, just whatever at this point. They're kind of eroding European and white people. This sounds disgusting like this, but it's very true. And me being me, no, Lois is fine. He's loved these characters, he loves the cast. He's been with this movie for ages at this point. I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Well, with the last few interviews he's done, it's starting to look to me that this is kind of just done for brownie points, or somebody behind is pushing this to be a thing. I can't keep the rose tinted glasses on because the way he said it, the way it's being portrayed online maybe is the main factor, but him saying that this isn't a historical fact, this isn't real, quote unquote, but it's based off a book with obviously defined characters, which we've seen butchered in, for example, Lord of the Rings. We saw how that went. Do not piss off an audience. But now you're telling us in the How to Train Your Dragon world, they don't need to be all white people, which, okay, I guess, but now you're very much treading the line and you're making it sound like you don't care for the roots. And I know I was being very curious the first time with their reveal, them talking about the crew, when people might not like the new Astrid, but gave her credit to her acting. Fair point. But when the way you're saying this is, my world is my world, it's not real, XYZ, but you're forgetting that it's based off of reality. It's based off of the Vikings, European Vikings, which last I checked was a bunch of white people destroying, pillaging, murdering, all that crazy stuff back in the day. You name it. They weren't black, they weren't Indian, they weren't Mexican, XYZ. They were white people. So now you're telling us that this world is a mixed world. It's an inclusive world. There's Ashit who's now black, and there might be other background characters who have been changed. Now you're doing the same thing Disney has been doing. A perfect example, The Little Mermaid. Piece of shit movie. I genuinely hate that movie with all my heart guts. But the world that they made makes no sense. And if you can't see that, sorry to tell you about it, but you might want to go look at the time period and see why that modern version is completely wrong. I'm just going to leave it there. But now you're telling me, and you're telling the audience, everybody, that in your world, Vikings are mixed up. When the story you're talking about is already based on a book, which is already based on a historical thing. You can't erode this. And you can't just play this off as, this is my world. It's my fake world. To a degree, I will agree with, you can say this and have artistic luxury. But am I in the wrong to think that part of it has to be respected? The author has to be respected. The world that has been created already has to be respected. Why not just make a whole new thing? Why not just make a whole new movie? Not How to Train Your Dragon, How to Butcher Your Dragon. I don't know, something dumb. But no, we're rehashing Disney steps. Now you're telling us the books don't matter. You're telling us the source material doesn't matter. And did you not see how Disney handled that? Or how the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. That is, you can go look on that one, pretty good. And video games, same thing. It's everywhere. This is happening everywhere. And now you're gonna tell us not everybody has to be white. My world is in fact It's my world, my artistic view. But when we look back just a few years, we can see Hiccup and the gang being Hiccup and the gang. They're all Europeans. And maybe Hollywood just hates Europeans now, which I don't understand the point of this. Maybe they're just trying to keep us rowdy for no reason. Maybe there's a whole deeper tinfoil hat thing behind this, but it's hard to ignore once you remove your rose tinted glasses that Europeans are not respected. Their history is not respected anymore, and there's this drive to blackwash or wash it away, essentially. Period. So maybe I'm just going crazy with that, and maybe Astrid's actor can knock it out of the park. Prove me wrong. Prove some of us wrong. Maybe she had all the gusto to become the new Astrid, but after what John said, it's really hard to not take a note that this might have been for bounty points. So I'll leave it at that. Let me know down below. Do you guys think I'm right? Do you guys think I'm wrong? And at the same time, is it okay to completely take apart some of the source materials, ideas, their stories? Or is it okay to take that and use it to inspire and just make a whole new thing? Because modernizing, in my opinion, is a very slippery slope that more often than not really doesn't make the cut. But let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys then.